Today is June 1st. A lot of countries have announced their plan for unlock. In India, from where I belong, the unlock program is called Unlock 1.0. I think there's going to be unlock in a phased manner across the world. A lot of offices, businesses will open up, and also the education institute. But is it enough to just announce unlock? The discussion around this with regard to education institutes and schools is coming up right now. Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmek Technologies. Welcome to Top Brands. And let me welcome my friend, my mentor from London, Mr. Naval Gunn. Naval, how's your morning today?
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Mornings are absolutely brilliant. We have yet another scorching hot day out there, which is good news for everybody. Amazingly, we could probably do with a little rain, which is unusual for an Englishman to say that, because it's, as most people will think, it rains all the time in England. But yeah, no, it's a wonderful day. It's a brand new week, 1st of June. So we're approaching the last month of the first half of 2020. And a lot of people are very pleased to see the back of 2020, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly, Naval. In fact, I would like to share some good news, which is something like personal to me. See, we started our company 3 years back. For the first time, today we got some small amount refund from the department.
Refunds are always nice, especially when they're unexpected.
Absolutely. So it's a good news. Even though it's a small amount, it was quite refreshing to see some refund coming from government back to us. So it was great.
Good news. Good news. But there must be better news out there today. What is the news out there today? What can we focus on?
Yes, I think the government of India has announced Unlock 1.0, as we call it, and it is going to start from June 8th. And then there'll be a phased manner unlocking across India. But the final unlocking is left to the states. So I think all state governments will come out with their own plan and modus operandi to unlock their territories. But I think the whole unlocking process will start from June 8th. And I think the schools and colleges will be still locked till June 30th. And after that, there are going to be phased manner plan to unlock the schools and colleges. I think starting with the elder or senior students first, then going to middle school, and then going to junior school. I think that is what the plan is look like as of now.
Well, that's good news. I mean, getting back to school is really important, and we perhaps focus on education shortly. But in the UK, it's June the 1st. The government is encouraging schools to go back now to bring their pupils in. They're phasing the approach, as you might have imagined they would do. And today marks year 1 and year 6. So we've got literally the first entry students in year 1, which will finish off their year now, because it's only a month or so until the end of the school year. But they'll finish it off with their friends in school, and the year 6s that are preparing to go to secondary school, year 7, will finish off their year with their friends, because they may all go their own different ways. But I think one of the interesting things was, someone said, how are you going to do high fives? How are you going to do stop year 1s and reception classes not hugging themselves? Because that's what kids do. They are very resourceful. They explore things. They move around the classroom. A lot of the classrooms are going to be locked off because they can't look at their the library books that they've got in each corner. All those corners are going to be fenced off. But I saw a very interesting article where a head teacher said they're going to introduce the virtual hug. So instead of the high five, which they would do, they're going to do the virtual hug. So should we practice the virtual hug? You don't even know what it is. The virtual hug is this. Just
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
cross your arms
This is
and
a very,
touch your...
this is a very good gesture, but I think the Facebook started virtual hug about a month back. They have started. They have added a new emoji in their messaging. Uh,
Right.
so I think it's all it's an extension of the like or love emoji. So I think it is already there, and I think this is a very good gesture where instead of saying namaste, you can also do this, or you can do namaste, and this will make less of sense now. I think this is better, I guess.
Well, as I say, they're going to adopt that in the UK. It would appear that it's been discussed at great length by the teachers, and literally, that's the virtual hug. So, which I think is it's a very pleasant gesture. But I'd love the high five to return, because there's nothing better than seeing a couple of kids in the playground just jumping up and doing the high five, or the belly push. They do that as well. But the good thing is we're moving back to a bit of normality, whatever that means in your part of the world. But education is changing quite radically. We've had nearly 3 months now of virtual education, kids being taught online using Google Classrooms, etc., etc., etc. So where do you think what's happening with education? Because I think there's a few things happening around the world. It's where education is changing. What do you think is going on?
I think parents send their kids to school because it's an all-round experience, and education from home, was always an option. But I think it's not a great option because there is a playground, there is interaction with different kinds of students, there are different kind of teachers, there is discipline in the school, there is a regime. So I think it's the overall experience when kids go to school, whatever age group they are, whichever class they belong to. I think that is what the kids are going to miss. And if this lockdown continues, I think my worry is predominantly the experience that we got, my parents got, and my grandparents got. This generation of kids are going to miss out that if this lockdown continues.
Well, they may miss out, but of course, you're their parent, so you can make sure they don't miss out, and they've got grandparents, and I think this is where things will start to change quite radically. One of the leading psychologists in the world, child psychologist, she's now doing other things, Dr. Carol Dweck, said many years ago that the most important thing that a child can learn at the end of their first day in school. So just imagine, your son, his very, very first day in school. What's the best thing that he could come away from school having learnt something? And she said, interestingly enough, make sure he's got a friend. Not hundreds of friends, the school's quite small, just one friend, one person that he is now relating to at the end of day one. She was then asked, so what happens after that? And she said, well, the point is it allows the negotiation, the discussion, the communication to start. And it may be after a few days, he gets a different friend and loses that first friend because someone else has taken that friend. So it's almost like a bit of ownership's going on here. But it's this personal relationship that you build, and you can't get that when you're an only child if you're being schooled at home. And I think even now, parents know that homeschooling may be great for their child, but actually the physical and the mental discussion that they have with children at their own age is vitally important. Which is why this, we're getting back to this virtual hug, because you can actually now see things demonstrated, well, hopefully a bit more in the playground, because we became aware of kids saying thank you or hi or what have you. But now you're going to physically see I think quite a bit of that, which I think could be quite nice. But we'll see, you know. But the main thing is, when it comes to education, it's an experience. We need, as I said at the beginning of our program today, children explore. You know, you give a child a present on their birthday, they rip the present open, they get to the present, they play with the present for about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe longer if they're more engaged with it. And then what do? They go back to the paper and the box, and they imagine what the box is, and they make things out of the paper because they're very imaginative and they explore lots of things. I bet your kids did that as well. They probably still do, don't they?
Yes, every day is an exciting day for them. And every new thing they find is quite exciting. It's like a child's nature. And I think we need to nurture that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, as parents, it's our duty to encourage it. Um, it's not that easy when you're in lockdown and you're all working in the same on the same table in the kitchen or in the dining room. You know, if you're not lucky enough to have an office, and you're all using the same broadband, and because you're all using the same broadband, it's getting slower and slower and slower. You know, so we need to encourage their exploration and have a little thought that they're tomorrow's leaders. Let's encourage them as much as possible.
In fact, what you're saying is important, but I think it's equally important to protect ourselves because we don't have any medicine for COVID. And, in schools, the kids can be rather reckless sometimes and they may get this disease and they can bring that disease back home. So I think I think it's a challenge for everyone. And the way the Indian government is going to handle what has come out in the news so far is they're going to look at um, standard 9 to standard 12 to come out, and then they will have an odd even formula. That means if the roll number is odd, they will go to school, and on alternate days, so odd number and even number and so on alternatively. So that means they will ensure that there is a little bit of distance maintained using social networking. I think that is what they're going to do. They will see how it happens because the older children will have more aptitude to follow and they'll be less naughty. So they want to start with the senior students first and then move to middle school and then move to junior school. So I think the junior kids, it's still a long way to go back to school. Like that's what I see it as of now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to be different for every country, every district even. Although it's recommended that you can open schools today, some districts, some schools have decided not to, and that's good because frankly, if you don't have all the teaching staff supportive of reopening the school, there's going to be an anxious underlying current. The attitude isn't going to be quite right. We need to be working at this as a team. So I think we're going to see a lot of teamwork going on here, which is really good. And the other thing is the clinical advice from all of the medical practitioners around the world that are dealing with this horrid virus is wash your hands. Wash your hands and social distance. So I don't think that's actually a bad thing for young kids to learn, actually. Not that I can remember washing my hands very much when I was little, coming in from the garden. But it's not a bad thing to do. It's personal hygiene. So just wash your hands. So if we get into that routine of before you go to school, you wash your hands. As you get to school, you wash your hands. As you leave school, you wash your hands. As you get home, you wash your hands. And I think that's one way that we're advised we can keep this virus down. So, and if we do it more and more and more and more, so wash your hands is the right thing to do. Wash your hands, 3 words. And after a while, you don't have to say why you're washing your hands because everyone in lockdown knows why you're washing your hands. Even a 4-year-old knows why you're washing your hands. So wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. It's just sort of be ingrained here. And then you start to do things automatically. So before you go to school, you do wash your hands. As you get to school, they will make you wash your hands. Sanitizers will be everywhere. And I'm sure during the day, you'll be washing your hands several times. And then when you come home, wash your hands. Right? And you could leave the muck in the outside world. So, simple message today, I suppose, to educate everybody. Wash your hands. We've been doing it for the last 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, longer for some. So let's continue to do it.
But I think, Neville, it is also a responsibility of the schools to advertise adequately to all the students which are coming back to school. Because I think the parents would also have that apprehension that, if they're sending their kids to school, will they get COVID? Will they bring COVID back home? So I think the schools also have to create a very good policy document and adhere to it religiously. Because if they don't, there is always a underlying suspicion. So I think that is also very important.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And communication is 100% of the rule here. Most of or all of the schools in the UK are encouraged to have an outreach program. And that isn't just to the parents of their pupils, but it's also to the local arena. So you actually see, and we have seen on the TV here quite often, how these schools are embellishing and engaging with the local environment. There are some fantastic ways of doing it, keeping in contact with people. In fact, I heard today that one head teacher had gone through all the preparation to open today. And then a week ago, and got all the staff together, and everyone was really gung-ho, yes, we're going to open, huge excitement, and has spread the word across the local arena, not least parents, but also the buses, because some kids, come in through bus, etc., travel restrictions around where they're going. And then she read some additional research. And that additional research said that if she delays opening for 2 more weeks, the risk will be reduced by 50%. Now, I don't know what she read or who it came from, but she was on BBC Headline News saying that she'd read this from some clinical experts. My guess is it's got something to do with temperature, heating up, climate, etc., because I can't think there's anything else going to be involved here. But whatever it is she did, she listened she saw some further advice. And she had 2 sleepless nights over it. I've said all this now, we're going to go ahead with it, but I've now read this advice, which is really niggling in the back of my mind. And she called, we have a governing body here, she called the chair of governors, discussed it with the chair of governors. They decided to delay the opening by 2 weeks. Now that could have caused a huge problem with everyone, because she's spent 2 weeks telling everyone we're going to open on the 1st of June, but everyone's come back and said, "Oh, well done. We thank you for taking your, being confident, having the strength to say no. We're going to wait 2 weeks." So, like anything else, you can sit in a little bubble and you can make all these decisions and then share it with everyone and everyone's really happy. But if you then get to hear something that attacks your decision and you've got an opportunity to change your decision, change it. That's the message I think we can do today. This wasn't easy because we're talking about in excess of 300 pupils in a school, which means you've got approximately 600 parents and all of the teachers around that. And you're now saying, no, we're delaying 2 weeks. So I think that's tremendous courage from that head teacher. It gets my support every single time. Of you think you've made a decision, but now you've changed it because you found out new information. I suppose the message for today is if you find new information, change what you do. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely, Neville. So to summarize, two clear messages from my discussion with you. One, wear mask, wash your hands regularly, and this is basically meant for everybody, not only for students but for everybody. And the second is for schools to create an outreach program appropriately. I think they should have one for parents and very importantly one for students, and they should come out with a sort of a do's and don'ts like a booklet or like a regime and introduce it to everyone. I think these are the two aspects very important for the schools before they start unlocking. Very clear message for today, Nibul. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We'll
My pleasure. Catch you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.